Okay, so to access your report generator, yeah, I have my screen shared. Good. Okay, to access your report generator, you need to type in CPT REPGEN or CPT Rep Gen in your iSeries. It'll take a minute and then your report generator should pop up. You start on our report list. It will automatically list all of your reports. On our report generator, the navigation is around the edges of the pages. So in the top here, we have an X and a question mark. These question marks are the help pages. There's a help page for each page in Report Generator, each screen. Um, if you have a question, that's the best spot to go to. We also have over here a FAQ. We will add to that FAQ as we get more frequently asked questions. Right now, there's kind of a overview for somebody who's new or who wants to review or with a simple question and explanation of repeating fields. We'll talk more about them later. On the left, the other thing you can do on our report list is add a new report, which we'll do. Along the bottom, if you click View All, you'll see all the reports that are available in your county. They list by category. So you used to have to go into different menus to get to different types of data. Now it's all here, but it tells you which set of data you're pulling based on the category. It'll list the user. That's the user who owns the report. You can view, you can run, you can change any report, but you cannot save changes to another user's report, and you cannot delete another user's report. If you want to save changes, we will trigger you to make a copy in your name that you now own. The name column, you can see we pulled all these from the old report generator because we have like your shortened name and then your longer description. You don't have to continue to follow that pattern in the new report generator. That's just how they pulled them over. You cannot change names in the new report generator, but you could easily make a copy of an old report with a new name and delete the old report. You can also add notes. If I look at my report, if you have notes on a report and you hover over it, it'll send you your note. You see, I wrote a nice little hello note for us on this report. But it could say, this is our August report, or, run this when that annoying Susie calls, or whatever name or note you wanted to put on that report.
Susie, can
It'll
I
tell you
interrupt you
whether,
real quick?
yeah,
Um, so when I was looking at ours, I noticed that there were some that are from users who have not worked here for the last 20 years.
yep.
Is there a way that like we can go through and clean up some of those because we don't even use those searches anymore?
Yep. So we can do two things. You can say we want you to delete reports by these users or reports that haven't been run since this date, and we can do that. You can also say, here are the users that no longer exist in our county. Please assign all of their reports to Carl, and then put Carl in charge of everything. We can delete things based on outlines or move them to a user who exists, and then you can delete them.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, we're not going to do that for you. You would need to ask us to do those things, and then we can do that for you.
Perfect.
Okay, back to my grid. So we have standard and custom reports, and it'll tell you, actually, here it tells you standard, custom, label. Labels are a specific type of custom report. We'll show you all of that today. Every report has a unique ID number. You can have reports that have the same names, even with the same category, because they'll each have their own unique ID number. It's going to tell you the date they were created and the date they were last run, which can be really helpful in terms of what report you're looking for. Over here, this is a copy. It will allow you to take someone else's report, make a copy. You can rename it, put it in yours. Also, if you own a report and there's a new person who's not really great at this, you can go in and you can assign it to them. You can also, right from here, generate a PDF or an Excel of a report. You see, I can't generate an Excel of this one because it's a custom. It's basically a letter that doesn't go into Excel. It's going to use all of the presets that you set up in that report to run. There are ways that you can have it so that you are determining that when you run it here. You have to do it through a prompt. We'll show you how that works today. And then this column is where you would delete a report. You have to own that report in order to delete it. If you own a report, it'll give you a red X. You click that red X, it'll ask you for confirmation you'll delete that report. All of these columns follow our grid tool rules. I'll show you our grid tool rules on the next screen when we get into a report. But just so you know, they're all here. We can sort A to Z, sort Z to A, or get into our hamburger rules. They're the same as the ones we'll get into in a new report. Feel free to continue to stop me with questions. I have notes here that I will follow to make sure you get all the information. We're going to do a new report. This is my test report. You can see here we have all of our different categories that we can make a report for and pull. Once you get into the report, you have a variety of tabs up here that allow you to set different things in the report. We have our navigation. Again, here's your help menu. Once you're in a report, this X shows up as blue. If you click the X, you go back to the report list. You can also go back to the report list by clicking report list. You can make a new report straight from this report, or you can save this report as a different report if you want to basically like make a copy that you change. We also have our FAQ. Along the bottom, we have a variety of options, mostly navigation and saving options. I'll get into why you might want to use this one in a little bit. But most commonly, we have next and previous, which will move you through these tabs. So when you go in and you're making a report, you probably do want to walk through all the tabs and work through them. If you're coming back in and you just want to change a quick thing, you maybe just want to click on the tab and navigate back and forth that way. But we'll walk through all the tabs together. So the first thing you're going to do is select the fields you want in your report. In order to select them, you're going to click one of these boxes and turn it into a blue check mark. We give you the field name and the field text. If you hover over this field text, we also list a description. Some of the field texts are harder to determine what they are than others. Those descriptions can be really helpful. We also give you the file shortcut and the file long description name. The long description name can be helpful for understanding what file it is. The file shortcut is a nice, easy way to cross-check. If you're looking for a field and you're not quite sure what it's called, but you know that it's on the same screen as a certain other field, or maybe you know it's in Cross County, you can go up here and you can say, I want to see TX. You had to get it just right, TXCCTY. And then we're going to see all our Cross County fields, and you can find fields that way. It's a lot easier to find the field you're looking for than it was in our old report generator. So I tend to sort A to Z, sort Z to A, or go up here and use this hamburger menu. We're going to start with a parcel. I want a parcel number and a value record. And let's get some value fields. Now, if I want value, maybe I don't want these previous value. I'm going to say instead of contains, we have different options here. We tend to use contains, not contains, and starts with. So I'm going to say here, I want something that starts with the value. And then maybe you don't want any of these taxable values in here. So you're going to say it starts with value and it does not contain taxable. Then you're going to see all your values, but not your taxable. So you can stack, and then, after you stack, you can list A to Z, Z to A, or not at all. So you can kind of combine those to find what you're looking for. Next I want township city.
Susie, did you say there was somewhere where you hover next to it and it gives you the full description?
Yeah, right. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, so I want taxpayer, but then I have to get rid of this not contains tax. So if you hover over any of these fields here, it's going to give you, like these ones are pretty straightforward. So we're not seeing much other than what it is. But if you hover, if you hover over a line in our report list, it's going to show you the notes that are in that. If you hover over a line in here, it's going to give you the longer description. So the short description for this one is value dash house and garage. The long description is house, garage, and 1 acre value from the value file. if you know what these things are, they probably come easy to you. I can't think of one that is like looks really convoluted, but then you hover over it. They exist. Um, it'll just give you more information about that field when you hover. If you want to see what fields you've selected, you can do two things. You can double click here and it'll show them all to you at the top. Or you can go forward to the print tab. It shows you all the fields that you've selected. Any other questions, holler? In the print tab, you can select and unselect fields to print. So if you have something listed but you don't want it to print, you unselect it here. You can leave it in the report because maybe you want it later, but you just don't want it printing this time. We pre-fill what we believe a good width is. We follow a variety of rules for this. If you leave it here, it will give you that width. You can make these widths narrower. But that follows some rules too. So if the field is a numeric field, so this total market value, I can make this field a 5, but it's not. Oh, here we go. This is our session expire message. So for security reasons, if you are sitting on here with without saving or doing anything for an hour, we will time you out and you will lose any progress that you've done. So that you don't do that like while you're making something because it's taking you a long time, we give you this pop-up and it says, do you want to continue your session? You should get this pop-up about 20 minutes into your session. If you click continue, it restarts that hour. So to give it to you every 20 minutes, you just say click continue and you restart your hour. However, if you're gonna like walk away, even like go to the counter and talk to somebody you don't know, I mean, you never know how long you're going to be gone. We would hate for you to be away from your computer and lose your progress on your report. So anytime you step away from your computer, if you just click the Save Report button, A, it saves all the progress you have so far. B, it restarts that hour right now. Every time you touch the backside, you like export a report, save a report, go back to the report list, it touches the backside and restarts that hour. Okay, back to my field widths. If you make a numeric field narrower than the largest value in that field, it will only get as narrow as the largest value in that field, not including sort of totals at the end, just field inputs. So my total market value is my largest total market value is more than 5 wide. So this is not going to be a 5 wide field. I'll show you what that looks like. But my taxpayer name, if I give that a 5, that will go down because that's an alpha field. That's now going to be 5 wide and it's just going to cut off everything else. If you're looking for a way to like fit more onto a screen and you're like, look, I just want to know what it is, but I want to cut stuff off. This is one way you can do that is come in, uncheck things you don't want to check or like take those widths in a little bit. Next, we're going to talk about sorting. So we can sort ascending, descending. You can do a section break or a page break. Kind of like Word, a page break is just a section break that also bumps you to the next page. If you add a page break, it requires a section break and it requires you to sort by that field. If you add a section break, it requires you to sort by that field. Our default sort is the parcel sort. And if you run out of sort options or if you don't choose a sort, we're going to go back to our default parcel sort. But we can add a couple other sorts here and I'll show you what it does with that. So you can layer them, like first I want it to sort by one, next I want it to sort by the next. And if you run out, again, we always kind of go back to that parcel sort. And then we give you the field text in the file here as well. Filters is the next thing. This is how you keep it from generating your entire county every time. So you can filter by any field that you've selected. Once you choose the field you want to filter by, you pick your conditions. So you can do equal, not equal, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, like, and range. Once you do that, you would put whatever you want in the variable field. I will say this like works well with alpha fields. So if you want everything that's on 4th Street and you put in like for TH, it's going to give you everything that's on 4th Street. If if it only works, like you have to be real thoughtful about what you put in there, because if it's like we just had a county that was looking for US fish and wildlife and they typed in US fish. Well, in their system, it was U space S space fish. But here they typed in US space fish. We're not going to pull that because it doesn't match. But if they had just typed in fish, we would have pulled it all up. Or if you typed in U space S space, we'd pull up everything that has U space S space anything, right? So that's how this like field works. It does not work with numeric fields, only with alpha fields. And then the other thing is, if you do a range, that requires a prompt. You can't put a variable in. For any other condition, you can choose whether you want to put the variable in now, which will run every time you run it, that's what that's going to be, or whether you want to do a prompt, which means when you submit it, or if you're on your report list and you run it from there, you're going to get that pop-up to ask you what you want. I am going to pick a range here for now and get our prompt. I'll show you what that prompt looks like. Then we have summary data. You can get counts for any field. We only offer total, min, max, and average for fields that make sense. So like I can get those from my value fields. I'm going to select all of them here and show you what this looks like. But these are our summaries. You're going to get the summary listing by report and by any section or page break. And it's not going to work this time. Spoiler, but I'll show you why. Okay. Then we have our output page. Output page, you can decide, do you want summary data only, which would list like totals or like whatever you have your page breaks by. Do you want portrait or landscape? You can pick your letter size. You can decide to generate to a PDF or an Excel. Remove protected official defaults to no, but if you're doing this for something external where you want it to be there, you can always put it as a yes. Staggered total lines defaults to no. I'll show you why you might want to use that. We'll put an options page on here so you can see it. When you have the options page, it says, do you want to print the report notes? Yes or no. I'm going to put the subheading here, and then this is going to be Susie's. Susie's notes. And I'll just show you where those show up. You can also set margins. Again, if you're trying to fit more onto a page, you can change your margins, you can change your font size. All of those things will do that for you. So you can submit and save report. Here's our pop-up. Now, if we had 2 years of files on, none of you have 2 years of files on, so I couldn't give you that demo today, but this is where you'd get do you want to use your New Year's files? If you're in CAMA, we'll show you that later. It's going to give you a CAMA pop-up asking you which CAMA year you're running this for. Otherwise, it's going to give you the pop-ups that you asked for in the prompts. So I'm going to do townships 1 and 2. This download is going to your downloads folder on your computer in your downloads folder. This is where this is. You don't have to go searching somewhere else. It's not saved anywhere else. It's in your downloads folder. Here's your options page. You've now all seen me take this options page to run a new report. You can see my report's named test and my subheading is subheading, which is showing up here. Here's my report notes. That's always also going to show up when I hover over it in the report list. If I go to the second page, every page is going to have my heading or my report name and subheading. Here, I told it to sort by township number, and then I told it to sort by house and garage. So we're going to list all of our house and garages that are 0 first, and then we're going to get the house and garages listing 0 to 1 or 0 to 100. Ooh, here they are. House and garages. Now I told it to give me a section break by township and it didn't. And the reason for that is because I broke a rule, which is pretty common. So here's down here our counts. You can see, I will go back to that section break here, but you can see when we're counting the number of inputs, not the number of unique inputs, just the number of inputs. So it's telling me I have 764 parcel numbers and 764 records. Well, a lot of these are unique. It's giving you all of them, everything that's in there. The house and garages, it's not counting the empties. So you do get the number of ones that are filled in. It's just not counting the empties. Now, do you see down here on our totals line? The totals are overlapping. This is why we might want to stagger our totals. We'll do that next so you can see that. The other thing I wanted to point out is, remember I made the total market value 5 wide and I made the taxpayer 5 wide. The taxpayer is 5 wide. The total market value is getting as narrow as my largest market value. But it is cutting off or squishing my totals. So if we go back, the reason I did not get my page break for Township City is because I had unchecked it to print. And it does say in the sorting tab help menu that you cannot sort by something or you cannot break by something that's not printing. So if you want that, you need to put it in here. Let's see, what else did I want to change? Staggered total lines, that's going to get us there. Another thing we could look at is these filters. So in the filters, we have and or, and they work kind of goofy. So let me just show you by example here. If I say I want Township City and I want something that he either has a house and garage, so house and garage is not equal to 0, or has a large total market value. Total market value is greater than, let's do 1 million. So house and garage is not equal to 0. It exists. Total market value is greater than 1 million. I'm going to show you what that OR filter does. So you can see we have like the large total market values that are sorted by parcel number. And then we get to the house and garage values. And we now have our page breaks by township. And we can now read our total lines that are staggered. They look goofy because they're not in the same line, but you can tell they all belong here. And you can now read them because they're staggered. And then if we keep going, we've got the same thing for Township through. And then now we're listing Township 3 and Township 4 and all the way through the rest of the county. And the reason for that is because of this OR filter. I like to think of the OR filter as a really strong filter. It kind of like breaks the filters. It's like a break in the filters. So it's going to say we are going to list everything that fits the filters above it or the filters below it. So we're going to print everything that's in Township City, in your Township City range with a house and garage, or that has a total market value greater than 1 million. If we wanted to also only print the total market value greater than 1 million in those township cities, we'd have to add it again. You typically can't add duplicates, but we allow it before and after that OR filter because that OR filter kind of breaks it. Now we're going to get 2 pop-ups for this township city. If we were to do an Excel, I'll show you what that looks like. We no longer are going to get our summary data. So if I submit and save 1 to 2, now here's my second pop-up. I want 1 to 2. I'm now getting a zipped file downloading because I'm getting my options page as a PDF, and then I'm getting my output as an Excel. This is going to happen if you do a custom report or if you do an Excel report. You're going to get a downloaded zip folder instead of just the file. So here I have Township 1 and then Township 2, and then that's it because I added that filter after my OR. Questions on that? I'm going to move on to custom reports. So custom report is just a different way of exporting this data or of printing the report. So it's in the print tab. Again, we have all of our options around the outside of the page here. So on the bottom, you can get a custom report in the bottom right here. Custom report is going to pull up this page. The page can be portrait or landscape. This is going to flip it back and forth for you. These buttons will zoom in and zoom out, but they're not going to actually change anything about the report. These will make your size, alpha size, your font size larger and smaller. You can make it bold. You can change the page size, same options as we have on our output page, change the margins. If you change the page size, margins, landscape, font size, that's going to change it on the output page. And if you change it on the output page, that's also going to change it in your custom report tab. So when we're on a page, we always start at the left side of the page. So you pick where over here you want to start. If you actually want to input something over here, you need to input something on the left and just put a bunch of spaces till you get to where you want. So if I input here, I can type in text. I can pull in a field that I have added to this report, and then I can add and remove rows. I'll show you that. So if I put in text, dear, and then I go to the right of it and I put in a report field. Let's do our taxpayer name reversed. Just select it from this list. And I'm gonna go hello. I want you to see it on both sides. And actually, it's not going to give me what I want because I made that field super narrow. I'm going to put it back to what it normally is, and I'll show you what it does. See, it's getting me now, we're getting 35. That's what it would normally go in as. And then let's just grab a report field. We'll grab the parcel number so we can see it. And let's grab a repeating field. So here's our repeating field. If the field is a repeating field, it says Y here. Repeating fields are fields that can occur more than once per parcel. So a record is a repeating field, a ditch or a special is a repeating field. Any field that's in the same file as those fields is also going to be a repeating field because it's tied to the file, and the file is now by repeating field. So we're going to tell you here if that is a repeating field because it's not always obvious based on the field, but it is if you know what file it comes from. Anytime you add a repeating field, it's going to ask you if you want detailed totals or both. So you can pick the number of lines. So if I pick like 10, this is repeating by record. It's going to list up to 10 lines, up to 10 records, up to 10 lines for the record. I'm going to do 2. I can also, instead of doing details, I can get totals. I'm going to choose both. This both is going to add 1 field for details that allows up to 2 lines and 1 field for totals. I could also choose to make it non-repeating, like if you're putting in a parcel number that's a repeating field and you don't want it to list 3 times if there's 3 records, you could just do that. It's up to you how you do it. So if I go in here, I can see if I hover, this is saying total market value. I've chosen to list up to 2 rows. And then if I get over this one, it's hard to do on a screen across the room. Total market value, this is giving me my totals. Now, if I wanted to have a space between here, I could add a row in between. If I want to remove a row, just so you know, if you remove a row, you also remove everything on that row. So gone is my parcel number, right? Let's just grab that back. Oops. If you don't want this on here, you do X to remove it. Say you want to remove the field, but you don't want to remove the row. We can also make things bold. So if I go in here and I add hello to you. So if I go over here, I can make all my font larger. I can make all my font smaller. I can, if I hover over a field, I can make it bold. That makes the whole field bold. I can do that over my text fields too. If you don't want to make the whole text field bold, say you're like, oh, I only want to make that part of it bold, you select that part of it, you go over here and you click bold. It's actually going to separate it for you. Now you have multiple text fields. Some of them are bold, some of them aren't, but it allows you to kind of insert that in the middle. You can also trim, and I'm going to show you what trim looks like after we've exported. So I'm going to go here and get rid of a couple of these. And let's give it an export. So here, you can say I have dear name. There's all the space because maybe we wanted to fill that up with the name. Hello to you. And then it's listing our first record and our total. If I wanted to get rid of the space, that's where the trim comes in. If we want to fill it, but only have it fill as much space as is typed in there, you would hover over this and you could click the T, that's going to trim it. It's going to mark in here that it's trimmed. If you untrim it, you untrim it. Also, when you're adding a field, if you click over here, it'll automatically trim it before you add it. So say you want to add fields all over the place, you want them all trimmed. Instead of having to remember, you can just click them and then add them to trim. If you want to input a field that's not on this list, you can go back to your Fields tab, select a new field, it'll be on this list. If you have a super long list, all of our grid tools work here too. You can sort A to Z, Z to A. You can select one here automatically. If you type in here, you can position to, say you do it Z to A and then you want to go down to the Bs, you can do Bs or however you want to do that. The other thing that we can do is make labels.
So
So,
Susie, with that, I'm envisioning like the local board of appeals when you're trying to write a letter to all the taxpayers about like the local board's opinion.
yep.
Does anybody have any one of those like created that could be shared with everybody instead of
So
us
we're
each creating our own individual?
right. We're working on the ability for like us to make something that we send out to all the counties. We can do that in our other report generators. We haven't done that yet in tax. But yeah, that there is a thought where we could kind of start a letter for you and have it sitting out there. So you don't have to start from scratch. Although, I've helped a couple counties do this and they call and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. It seems like a lot of work. Well, once you get into it, it actually goes pretty quick and you actually probably want it laid out the way you want it laid out. Um, so if there's something that like you think everyone uses the same, and you want us to make that and send it out to counties, we're open to that idea. Because then you can take it and edit it yourself. Um, but that's not something that's happened so far. But you're right. This is something where like you're sending out Board of Appeals opinions or, you're doing mailings or whatever.
Yep.
That's what these are used for. Okay. So yeah, like assessors, if you get together with your area group and you're like, look, we all use the same template. Can you please make it and send it out? Send it our way and we can work on that. For labels, we have a couple presets. We have the Avery 3x10 and the Avery 2x4. You can start with one of them and change it to make it yours. You can not start with one of them and go in here and say, I actually want a 4x10 or whatever it is that you want. We have had, a county that had a non-Avery 3x10 that was slightly off, and we were able to get it to fit nicely, just like editing these margins a little bit, popping it down or up, or I don't remember what we did, but we were able to get it to shift so it fit perfectly. Kind of just messing around with these, you hopefully should be able to make it fit any label that you have. If you turn this into labels, you are going to edit this top left label. And then it's like the rest of these are continuing pages. They're like ongoing pages they're ongoing labels instead of ongoing pages. So if we were to do that, you can see like I trimmed this field and you can tell that I didn't put any spaces in because it says dear, hello. If I wanted to add those spaces, I would go back. A little hard to do in my labels because they're so long. But I just click in here, do space, hello, dear, space, taxpayer. That would get that for me. And then you're seeing that it just rolls over from one label to the next. If I go down, oh, I must not have it. I was looking for one that listed two, and you can tell like this isn't really laid out for labels because we're overlapping. We'd have to do a better job. We don't have any that are listing multiple records, but if there was multiple records, it would say like 24,500, 10,000, 34,500 would list here. That's how it does with the repeating fields. Okay, so that's it for a normal report. I want to show you the special CAMA rule for major and minor fields. Any questions before I get out of this report generator?
Can you work that with just regular envelopes too, so that it'd be repeating?
We don't have an envelope printing function. We are assuming you're printing on labels that you would put on envelopes. Do you have an envelope printer that's going to print mass amounts of envelopes? The only printers I've seen that do like tons of envelopes are like single feed.
Well, ours are single, like we can put in like 15 at a time, and we print to the envelope so that we don't have to actually stick a return address and our mailing label.
Okay.
It's just, it adds another step. So I was just wondering
Yep.
if there's an envelope
We do
possible.
not have an
Or
envelope.
you can make a custom. Could make custom.
You can make a
With
custom
some
report, but
report.
isn't the export still an 8.5 by 11? Like you could make, like in the labels, okay, so hold on here. Oh, it doesn't say labels. This, oh, because I took away the labels. So if I go in here and I do a custom label, so like you could do one across, three down or something, so this is gonna be like the envelopes, but that's not actually gonna print envelopes. That's gonna be 8.5 by 11 sheet still.
You can't
Like
do a
I've-
custom, like a page. Your page size? You can't change your page size?
Well, I mean, you could change your margin, so you're only printing in the middle, but it's still an 8.5 by 11 page. So we'd have to make it, this would have to be like a envelope. Cause you can put letter legal 11 by 17,
Figure out the spacing on it.
but we'd have to make one of these an envelope. Which, like, Microsoft Word has I don't remember how I did it, but I did it. You can print envelopes from Microsoft Word.
Well, in the old report generator, you could sign a number of lines on them. I didn't
So-
realize that.
that this one didn't do that. I have a list going of recommended upgrades, and I'm adding print to envelope to that recommended upgrades.
It would basically be assigning your number of lines on a page. Maybe your page width.
Okay, so, new report. I'm gonna show you camera rules here. No, I didn't test this. Hopefully it's there. So if I get I'm gonna just pick the minor category for now. And I'm gonna get a parcel number. Then I'm gonna show you our rule here. So if you want to filter, there's two filter rules for CAMA major and minor categories. If you want to filter by a minor category, you must also filter by the major category. So if you try to add a minor category, we're gonna say we are adding the major category before it. In fact, we have now added the major category to your report. It's not gonna print because you didn't select it unless you come back here and you tell it you want it to print, but it's now added to your report and it's added above the minor category. The second rule for CAMA major and minor categories is that they require a prompt. You have to, on your output, have a prompt and tell us what you're doing, and this is why. Because again, I told you, like in CAMA, you have an automatic prompt where you're picking your library. And then for your major categories, you're gonna say what major categories do you want? And if we pick multiple, you can pick as many as you want or as you have. Then when it pulls up the minor, it's gonna tell you which major you're picking your minor for. So then here it's gonna say for deck, which categories do you want? And then for garage, which categories do you want? And again, you can choose multiple for each or singles, and that's what it's gonna do is list those for you. So that's kind of the CAMA caveat is those special prompts for the CAMA categories for you to run your CAMA lists. And they do work with each other a little better than the old report generator did. We've done some upgrades on that already.
A lot of upgrades.
It's significantly better than it was. Any other questions or anything you'd like to see? All right. You are set free. So we have transferred your reports from your old report generator into your new report generator. That wrote over all the reports that are in your new report generator. Any changes you make in one will not be reflected in the other. So we suggest if you're going to be making changes, you move to the new report generator, reach out to us if you have questions. We will help you walk through it. We will eventually get rid of those old report generator links and have you kind of always coming here. But for now, they are still there. And in order to get here, you type in that CPT rep gen. And if you want help cleaning up those report lists or getting rid of old reports, let us know and we can work on that with you. Otherwise, that's it. I will stop the recording.